Are we waiting for something?
Welcome, newcomers, members, and friends to our worship service at Central Unitarian Church. My name is Alie Christopher, and I serve as CUC's Director of Family Faith Formation.
And good morning. I am the Reverend Andrée, minister here at Central Unitarian Church.
CUC is an inclusive community of all ages which embraces diversity in identity, expression, and spiritual belief. Many of our members and friends find inspiration, hope, and renewal with us. Today is an all-ages service celebrating Earth Day, which takes place later.
If you're visiting us in person, please be sure to say hello to one of our welcome hosts. And I do believe our welcome hosts today are Alex and Joan. So please be sure to say hi to them. And if you're visiting us online, please take a moment to answer or share your information in the guest book. The link is in the chat on the bottom of your screen.
We are grateful for all those helping to make the service happen, including Matt Anderson, our music director, Robert Renee Galvan, our choir director, choir and tech support, Phil Sosinsky and John, numerous readers of all ages who are joining us today.
Actually, the funny thing is, I think we realized that it's an all-ages service and almost all of our families are on vacation today.
So it's us.
It's these voices of all ages with us today. We invite you for coffee after service and conversation and connection in the same space. Coffee hour this morning is hosted by Winsome Demetrius, and I know also being hosted by Sam. Thank you for getting that ready. And our flowers, these beautiful flowers this morning, I forgot to check who brought these beautiful flowers. Thank you, Susan Gempler. They are lovely. Nice little spring here on this lovely spring morning. We have a few announcements this morning to share, quite a lot actually. First off, our CUC Passover Seder is scheduled for Saturday, April 20th, which is next Saturday at 4 p.m. here at the Women's Club. This is the ritual meal that celebrates the Israelites' freedom from slavery in Egypt. We will have good food, we will have some songs, we will have a number of readings, and great company. Today is the last day to register, so if you want to go and you have not registered, please see Pam Zeldin, who's in the back. Pam will make sure to get you signed up. We are having problems with sound today. This is what today's going to be, apparently. It's okay, John. We trust you. You'll figure it out.
We're having a little bit of a thing, so it's kind of, let's call it a conversation that we're having electronically here.
Great, we're having an electronic conversation. We're just going to let today flow the way it needs to flow. As we've announced the last couple of weeks, just a reminder as well that the UUA General Assembly is happening in a few weeks from June 20th through 23rd. That is only weeks away, to be honest, that June is that close. UUs around the country join together. This year it's entirely virtual. We join together for worship, for workshops, and for business of our larger association. And one of the big conversations which of course it previously included our principles and sources, and now they are proposing that it includes our shared values. So we are looking for delegates to join in being part of that conversation. So if you are interested in either attending or in being a delegate, please be sure to see Brooke Kanata, board president, who is looking for delegates, or you can also reach out. Also, the CUC design team, of which there are a number of members here, we have been hard at work in working on the interiors of our new building at 36 Bergen Street, just down the street. Last time we met as a congregation, we showed you some mock-ups for the outside. This coming Sunday, April 21st, after service, we are going to be showing some of the mock-ups for the inside. This isn't our final mock-ups, but we're getting closer, and it's at a point where, A, we want you to know what we're doing, and B, we would love to get feedback from the congregation on how we're moving forward. So please be sure to come, because your engagement input is an important part of this process, and that will happen next Sunday after service. I also want to announce that since today we are celebrating Earth Day, we have two actions in our relationship with the earth. First, we are sponsoring a cleanup day with our community partner, Hackensack Riverkeeper. Many of you may remember having Hackensack Riverkeeper with us in the fall as part of one of our services and talking about what they do to help protect our local watershed. They have various cleanup days where organizations sponsor a day to clean up a segment of the river. And so we are hosting that for them on Saturday, May 5th from 10 a.m. May 4th, thank you. Saturday, May 4th. In case you haven't realized, I've been here 5 years. I'm really bad at dates. So please call me out if I miss something. Saturday, May 4th, 10 to 1. It's at Memorial Field in Park Ridge. The Hackensack Riverkeeper chose this space as a space that needs to be cleaned up. And it's in need of cleaning. So all ages are invited to join. If you would like to join, please see the registration form that's in this week's e-news. And if you have any questions, you can check with me. The other action that we have is we are collecting plastic bags to participate in a program by Trex Decking. So the Trex Decking company makes recycled decking out of recycled materials. And they have a program where if we collect 1,000 pounds of plastic, we can get a free bench. A free bench that we can put on our new location. That is a lot of plastic. However, we can do it and other people have done it. So in the back of the room here, you probably can't see it right now, but it's up near our rack of hymnals. Rudy Yeager has brought in a nice big receptacle. That will be here on Sundays to collect plastic bags. If you have plastic bags at other times, that's not on Sundays, please save them for Sundays and bring them here. We don't have a single place we can store that 24/7 because of our temporary arrangements this year, but we're doing what we can to start collecting this plastic, and we'll see what we can get. Maybe we can get 2 benches for our new space. And invite your friends and neighbors to participate along with us. I know plastic in stores is no longer something here in New Jersey, but a lot of us still have plastic around that can be recycled. And finally, I want to invite Robin Kanata up to share a few words about Spring Fling.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, I thought I was going to be a surprise, but I know it's been up here. Well, spring, I'm going to do it anyway. Spring is here, and many of you have been asking if spring is here, what about Spring Fling? Well, Spring Fling is here because Spring Fling will start, again, it'll be online, be starting at 7 p.m. on May 18th and ending at 7 p.m. on 5/25. So it's a whole week you get the chance to bid. Some of you that are new here, let me just explain a little bit about Spring Fling. Spring Fling is basically two things. Number one, it's our largest fundraiser, which is important, obviously. Money is always important. But I think even more important, it gives us a chance as a community to grow closer together. It gets us to meet new people outside of church. A lot of the items that previously have been donated, we do a lot of ethnic and themed dinners. People bring people to their homes and do a dinner. That goes really well. Other people donate restaurant coupons, gift certificates. That goes really well. Wine always works. If you want to donate wine, that always, and maybe even a little bourbon too, but that always goes well. We do, people donate a hike or artwork, or if you have a vacation home, you might want to donate that for a weekend or for a week. These are just some different ideas. Now, if you have any questions just about that, please see me. Who else is here? Stand up from Spring Fling Committee. Great. Just if you have any questions, ask me or any members. If you have some ideas and so on, you'll have form. We don't have the forms yet, right, Brooke?
I asked Maxiel about them. I don't know.
They may come later. We might even actually have the hard forms here. So if you have any questions about that. All right, besides raising money and getting to know each other better, it's just a really great time. I mean, we've been doing it for years. And also, there's different things. A lot of stuff is bidding. For instance, people do a themed dinner. And some of those go pretty high. They can go from $100 a person because, again, it's just what people are willing to bid. But also, there are items that are set prices, which is important. You bid, you're not bidding. You just sign up for that item. You know exactly what it's going to cost. So there's something for everyone's budget. Just for an instance, Brooke and I do a 4th of July barbecue every year. It's $15 a person, $30 a family. You can't really eat at McDonald's for that. So, and I guarantee you our food is better than McDonald's. So there's really something for everyone. And this year's theme is moving on up. Moving on up to 36 Bergen. Moving on up to our new home in Westwood. Moving on. All right, I'll stop. You get the idea. So please, if you have any questions, ask me or one of the members of the committee. Thanks.
Lots of stuff going on here at CUC this spring. Let us now move deeper into our worship. Let us turn to each other and give each other a warm greeting on this wonderful spring morning. Good morning. His plans change. Good morning. Good morning. Our call to worship this morning is by Sweet Home Teacup, who is a Portland, Oregon-based yoga instructor and founder of the Yoga and Animal Rights Alliance. We may recognize and abandon the familiar attitudes and practices that do not serve the whole. We are who we are, and we have the opportunity to be who we want to be, to create a new inheritance for the future. May our thoughts, words, and actions in our daily lives assist in dismantling paradigms of oppression and suffering. May we give thanks for our individual place in time and space, to our families and relationships that touch and change us. May we give thanks to the wise teachers who help us remember how to be and the chance to make it so. Underneath and within these stories and histories is our humanity. Being human means we are of this earth. We are these waters. We are fire and the atmosphere. We are the sun and the moon and the stars. We are all that we see, and the wisdom is revealed by looking in between. I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, 163 in the Gray Hymnal, For the Earth Forever Turning. I'm going to invite Robin Kanata up to lead our chalice lighting.
I'm Robin Kanata. I'm on the Board of Trustees. We light this chalice to remind us of our dreams, to nourish our heart, mind, and spirit, to work towards a better world for all, to embrace the whole of our human experience, to honor our past and our gifts of the present, to create a community where each of us may find healing, transformation, and hope.
Hello again. I'm going to be reading a book called The Invisible Web by Patrice Karst. The very best news ever has begun to spread all over the world, one heart at a time. Shout it from the mountaintops. Every single one of us is connected to those we love by invisible strings. That means Giovanna and her daddy are always together, even though he moved to a new house. Omar can feel the tugs of love from his parents, even though he is far away at school. Mr. Chang still feels Mrs. Chang close by, even though she died such a very long time ago. And you, at this very moment, may feel the string of someone close to you, even though they aren't there. You can't see it, but it's real. Our strings reach to everyone we know. They travel far and wide to families and friends, classmates and coaches, to bus drivers and babysitters, neighbors and pets, to aunts and uncles and grandparents and grandchildren, and countless other people. And all of those people have hundreds of strings. Soaring high over rocky peaks and across the seven seas, deep into jungles and valleys, and winding through the busiest of cities, all these strings crisscross one another and create a nest that covers the planet, interlacing us together, cradling us forever. The web has no borders and wraps every continent. Within it live butterflies and flowers, starfish and seahorses, lions and ants, rivers and snowstorms, and all human beings. Giovanna, Omar, Mr. Chang, and of course, you and me too. Some say it even reaches to our ancestors and those we cherish in the beyond. One tug on a string sends love to every one of us, woven together in this divine tapestry. And that means just one good deed travels across the entire web. Everything is linked. But sometimes folks forget. When they can't feel their strings, they forget about our invisible web. And that's when strings get tangled up. Like when lonely Louisa isn't invited to sit with anyone at her school at lunchtime. Or when sad Stefano wishes his friend Marcus wasn't so bossy when they played. Or when Miss Patel struggles at work without help and she just wants to quit. Even violence and war can erupt when too many of us forget the web. When strings are ignored, they become weak and begin to unravel. But the more people who care for the web, the stronger it remains. The web feels like every parent since the beginning of time, holding and protecting each one of us in millions of gentle arms. What could be stronger than all those hands holding us close? So many supportive fingers can always find a way to untangle strings so that love can flow again. But it's up to every one of us to spread the word. Our time is right now. As we tell our family and friends, sisters will remind brothers, who will write to cousins, who will call their great-grandparents, who will just nod and smile as if they have always known. If we remember the web and tug at it often, no one will ever be left out. We will see others more clearly. The people of the world will look into each other's eyes. They will smile at one another, and when one of them cries, they will all want to help. And they do. Marcus apologizes to Stefano, who forgives his friend, and they have even more fun playing. Someone helps Miss Patel at work and tells her what a great job she's doing. She remembers that she's important and feels happy. And Louisa feels warm and bubbly inside when a few of the kids in class ask her to join them under the banyan tree for lunch. She knows right then that the invisible web is real. After school, Louisa cries with joy as she strokes her cat, who purrs the news to the stars, and the stars whisper the secret to the clouds, who share it with the songbirds, who serenade the world with this exquisite melody of love. At the start of each morning and all during the day, until, as the invisible web glitters in the magic of twilight, the owls take over and hoot the news throughout the night. The invisible web is alive. Its time is right now. It breathes as we breathe, pulsating all over our earth, the single heartbeat of life and love. And do you know what that makes us all? One very big family.
Thank you, Alie. Woven through this story that Alie has shared is not only the idea that we're all tied together through love, but that we're all tied to this whole living world, to this earth. We want to take some time this morning to remind ourselves of that connection to the earth using the spiritual practice of meditation. So I invite you to sit comfortably in your chair, maybe with your feet flat on the floor. Find some place for your hands, whether it's in your lap or on your knees. You can focus your eyes in front of you, or for this particular exercise, it's probably best to close your eyes. And finally, find your breathing in and out of your body. Just focusing for a few seconds on that breath. And imagine being outside for a moment. Perhaps it is just outside this building on this beautiful day. Perhaps it's your yard or a park or one of your favorite places to be in nature. It doesn't matter. Just pick a place and imagine yourself there, outside. Take a few deep breaths in that place. Imagine yourself like a camera, the one that doesn't just take in visuals, but a camera of all your senses in the sights, the sounds, the smells. Start by scanning that landscape for color. What are the various colors that you see? How many yellows? How many different greens? Perhaps brown? What other vibrant colors do you see in this landscape? What do you smell? Are there flowers nearby? Water? Dirt? What is it that travels on the wind to your nose that you can smell in this space? What do you hear? A train? A wind? Birds? Leaves rustling? What are all those sounds that surround you? And what other living beings are there with you? Are you alone in this place, or are there other beings sharing the space? Our senses connect us to this living world outside of us. And they remind us that we are not separate. It's easy to practice being present to our connections to the earth. So as we're all in this outdoor space in our imagination, silently commit to noticing one beautiful thing each day this week. On a walk, while running errands, or even just out your window. It's a way that you can find one beautiful thing each day this week. Once you've made that commitment to yourself, you may open your eyes, return to this space, present with each other here and now. And may we not forget that interdependence reminds us that we are not in this world alone.
shared commitments, giving and receiving together. Our congregation serves as a place where we intentionally practice this shared living. Nothing is done within our congregation or that our congregation does to serve our wider community by a single individual. Congregations are where we practice interdependence in a culture that overemphasizes independence. There are many ways we practice this each week. One of those is through our congregation's finances, which depend on the generous contributions of members and friends, both past and present. This morning, as we do each Sunday, we pause to recognize this particular form of sharing, each of us giving what we can to support the mission and vision of Central Unitarian Church. Your financial contributions, in person, online, or through an annual pledge, helps each and every one of us to grow, to serve, and most importantly, to live lives centered on love. Our offering will now be greatly received.
Please join me in saying our dedication words. We dedicate these gifts in the service of our mission to welcome all into a home of spiritual diversity that challenges us to become our best selves, to minister to one another in love, and to serve the greater community. We're learning more and more about some of the ways this invisible web that we've been speaking about this morning, we're learning more and more as humans about how it really works. You may have noticed that in worship services and other settings, I often speak about trees. They have always played an important role in my life, a place to climb as a child, a companion to shelter under. Forests have provided me with spaces to recenter myself and cleanse my mind from my concerns and fears. They've provided me with spaces of refuge and sources of awe. From solitary walks through a forest to standing below a dark canopy of redwood trees, their unseen tops towering over me, trees have played an important role in my life. Yet I was taught in our culture that trees are just these individual solitary things that are pretty, or that we cut down for lumber, or that we cut down because they've become inconvenient. I don't remember anybody sitting me down and telling me this. That's just the way adults in my life presented trees to me. They weren't individual beings as many indigenous cultures actually experienced them. And they certainly didn't form communities communicating with one another and supporting each other, as more and more scientists are beginning to discover. Especially here in Bergen County, we tend to treat trees as decorative possessions, something that's pretty to look at and perhaps shades our house, but something that's also dangerous and to be taken down when it becomes too old. We don't treat them as the sophisticated beings that they are, and often cut them down at a very young age. Some of them around us are older than us. I know the oak trees that we had on the property in Forest Avenue were much older than the building. I've had 100-year-old trees living in my yard, and where I live currently, we have a communal backyard with my neighbors, and that includes a 200-year-old oak tree. And I look out at that massive trunk of the tree as it rises from our yard, its limbs providing us with shade in the summer as we look out on the Hudson River. And I wonder if it's a mother tree to some of the smaller trees, including oaks, that are also in our yard. And yes, there is such a thing as mother trees who nurture the younger trees around them. It turns out that trees and other plants have formed a symbiotic relationship with fungi called mycorrhizae. And they help trees seek out water and nutrients. And through chemicals, they can use mycorrhizae to communicate with each other. So young saplings or sick trees can actually send out distress signals, and larger, healthier trees can actually direct water or nutrients their way. Trees have been known to keep the stump of an old tree alive in this way. Trees that play this nurturing role for a whole variety of trees around them become known as mother trees. And some trees communicate through the air as well. Elms and pines can release pheromones when they detect saliva from attacking caterpillars. And those pheromones can attract wasps, who then lay their eggs in the caterpillars, which end up killing the caterpillars. Bad for the caterpillars, but, very good for the trees. Similarly, there are trees that can detect deer saliva and release chemicals to make their leaves taste bad to the deer. Trees benefit from their animal neighbors as well. On the coast of British Columbia, trees that are near salmon streams benefit from the bears who eat the salmon and leave their carcasses nearby. Using their roots and fungal networks, the trees absorb the rich nitrogen from those salmon. So no, trees are not lone, solitary things meant solely for our enjoyment or for lumber. They are communal creatures interacting with the environment around them, including insects and animals and other trees. And the thing is, scientists are just beginning to learn these miraculous things about trees. They don't know exactly how some of these communication techniques work, and they are certain that they don't know all the ways that trees communicate. But the reality is, they do communicate. And like us, they're woven into the fabric of the interdependent web of life, relying on more than just themselves and offering their gifts up to others for survival. So may this knowledge, known by many indigenous traditions and rediscovered through our scientific tradition, build our awareness and appreciation of the miraculous world that we all share. Now we turn to the time in our service where we share our joys and sorrows with each other. This is a way that we care for each other each week. I have some written joys and sorrows that I will share out loud. If you're online and you have a joy or sorrow to share, take a moment to type it into the chat now and I'll read it out loud. And then I'll invite each of you here to share out loud the name of anybody else you're holding in your heart today, followed by a moment of silence and a moment of prayer. So let's breathe in again and breathe out, entering into a space where we can receive these holy gifts of joys and sorrows from our community for today, Sunday, April 14th, 2024. All these joys and all these sorrows, both spoken and unspoken, we hold them together with love in our hearts as we enter into a moment of silence. Great weaver, connecting us to each other and to this earth. May we not forget, we are one. Being one means caring for each other. Each other means not just those whom we know, but also unknown strangers. Each other means not just human beings, but all living creature. Each other means this whole living earth. Caring for each other means caring for the earth. Caring for the earth means caring for each other. These are not different acts. They are one and the same, because we are one. We are one. We are one. Blessed be, and amen. Please feel free to remain seated for our next hymn, We Would Be One.
We Are One by Reverend Karen Anderson. Perhaps if I could pull my senses back to the scraping squeak of the window opening that welcomes the pastor's chorus of peepers into my room, who resonates tones glide over my bed sheet and mental haze. I'd remember to listen to my amphibian friend's primordial call. We are one, we are one, we are one. Perhaps if I could recall the rapid thrum of the 9 hummingbirds beating wings, whipping in and out around the feeder with a thrum, thrum, thrum. One cold Montana morning in May, I'd remember that my heart beat synced with metronomic ease to their tiny thrumming selves again calling, we are one, we are one, we are one. Perhaps if I could be real still and lay my body on the syrupy mud along the creek behind the wood, I could hear the ferns unfurl in unison and the roots of the poplar stretch toward the spring. I'd remember that the universe sings a song to us every minute of every hour of every day of every year. We are one, we are one, we are one. Perhaps if I made it a priority to listen to that siren song, I'd ask the right questions and make the right statements, and return to the communion of creatures of which I am a part. The truth is, we make this planet about us and only us. And when we do, the earth calls our separate selves back, singing, ask yourself, you beautiful, thoughtful, gorgeous species, how much of the planet are you really entitled to? How much of this planet are you really entitled to? And with the peepers and the hummingbirds and the ferns and the roots, I would respond, we are one, we are one, we are one.
We are one. We are one. Last week, we discussed the Buddhist concept of interbeing from Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh. The idea that we are not separate from the world around us. Our mind is not separate from our body is not separate from the outside world. All is one. Thich Nhat Hanh calls this interbeing. Similarly, Bishop Desmond Tutu spoke of the South African concept of Ubuntu, which means I am because we are. The Haudenosaunee people embrace a philosophy of 7 generations. This philosophy that asks yourself, how are the things that I'm doing, how will it affect 7 generations following me? Many indigenous traditions include ancestors and non-human creatures as part of their community. Potawatomi botanist, teacher, and writer Robin Wall Kimmer speaks of indigenous relationships with plants, for example, emphasizing their reciprocal nature of such relationships. They have gifts to share with us, she reminds us, but only if we treat them with respect and care. So many voices, including these, including Rachel Carson, including Greta Thunberg, to leaders of Native communities which too often suffer the greatest ill effects from climate change. All these voices remind us that for too long in our dominant Western culture, we have existed like such reciprocal relationships in nature do not exist. We have forgotten about the next generation, much less 7 generations out. We believe I am because I am, dismissing we entirely. and we're unable to recognize that all the plants, animals, and human siblings that surround us are made from the same stuff as we are. We all come from the stars. The sun and the earth gave birth to each one of us and sustains each one of us. We are one. In our service this morning, from our invisible web of love to our meditation of the outside world to our exploration of the world of trees, reminds us of this fundamental sacred aspect of our reality. We are one. And when we forget this, that's when we are no longer able to hear each other. That's when we are no longer able to hear the trees, when we are no longer able to hear the animals, when we are no longer able to hear our ancestors or even our offspring, when we're no longer able to hear the earth. For all of them are calling to us in their suffering. And if we do not return to this fundamental value, we are one, then we are lost. And our children, 7 generations from now, won't even have a chance. Our latest articulation of our shared UU values, as put forth by the Article 2 Study Commission, names interdependence as one of our shared values. It is written, "We honor the interdependent web of all existence with reverence for the great web of life, and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it." And this statement also calls on us as UUs to covenant together. We covenant to protect the earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. This remains a significant undertaking, but one which Earth Day reminds us is so vitally necessary. So let us do this simple act. Let us commit to this basic, powerful, and sacred wisdom. We are one. And let us live it every day and work with others to do the same. May it be so. In celebration of being one, in celebration of being on this earth together, let us rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, I know one of our favorites in many UU congregations, Blue Boat Home.
Far away from the rolling
Please join me in saying our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this chalice flame, but not our promise to each other, to act with grace, to hold each other in love, to serve this community and our world. This promise of the heart serves as a reminder of how we live together. May it bring joy to our collectives.
Our benediction today comes from the Reverend Sean Parker Dennison. At this moment of ending, may there be a good word, a blessing, to help us remember what we have so often forgotten. May the message we need be gently spoken and held in the spaces in our cells, the fibers that hold all we need to maintain our gentleness, our courage, and our hope. At this moment of ending, may the goodness we wish for ourselves and for each other, this community, ecosystem, planet, and Stardust galaxy become a part of us that we cannot tell where the blessing ends and where we begin. Blessed be. Amen. Thank you, Renee and Matt and the CUC Choir for the lovely music this morning. Thank you, Alie, for joining me in this venture of doing this all-ages service. Thank you to John and Phil for our tech. Thank you to all of you for being here, and of course to Winsome again for our coffee hour. Please do join us and stay for coffee and connection.